Critics are everywhere. They can be found in numerous fields, including art critics, music critics, film critics, theater or drama, restaurant and scientific publication critics, and some of the worst critics can be found in political pundits, or so they think. Why must everything be critiqued? Is there a point or purpose in criticizing everything seen or heard? Modern critics include professionals or amateurs who regularly judge or interpret performances or other works, such as that of artists, scientists, musicians or actors, political speeches, political debates, and typically they voice or publish their observations, often in periodicals. Many of these quasi-critics only have uneducated opinions about subject at hand or arrogated. Political criticism in general terms means evaluating the suitability of a subject, such as presidential candidates, for example, for the intended purpose of finding the most suitable nominee. Criticism can also be a tool of an antisocial behavior, such as passive-aggressive attack behavior patterns so obvious in the current political campaigns. Criticism, when practiced with care and consideration, can yield subtle insights and answer complex questions no other method can match. Constructive criticism is a form of communication in which a person tries to correct the behavior of another in a non-authoritarian way, and is generally a diplomatic approach about what another person is doing socially incorrectly. But can we say for certain the criticism employed by political observers or pundits are only looking for the best possible candidates? Or are the critics just trying to destroy the ones that do not agree with their ideology? What character or behavior patterns should be found in the ideal presidential, congressional, Senate, or individual office-seeking candidate? Can good character traits be found in the current field of contenders? Look at these 5 points and equate. 1. Virtue, moral excellence, integrity of character. 2. Endurance, perseverance, steadfastness. 3. Self-control, being in or under control. 4. Kindness. 5. Care and concern for their fellow man. I really believe the platforms of each political party should be obvious to every listener. Their vagaries and hidden agendas are observable even by the uneducated. What we are seeing, as usual, is mudslinging, smut revelation, dirty politics, and character assassination by most of the Democratic Party candidates. Where is the platform of truth? Many of the candidates in the Democratic Party should not even be considered for the highest office or any office in America. America needs to know from each candidate what they actually stand for and prove it. What we are seeing displayed in many, if not most candidates, are these bad character traits. 1. Jealousy and envy. 2. Boasting and pride. 3. Hypocrisy. 4. Hatred. Violent speech is number 5, coupled with a whole lot of anger. Is this what we want in our elected officials? Are we looking for the best qualified or the dirtiest possible contender? Notwithstanding, I personally could not vote for any candidate running on the Democratic ticket. There are some rare exceptions, however, that seems to have some common sense and balance in the Democrat Party, and I believe many of the character traits described in the first list can be ascribed to them. However, most Democrats seem to have their weaknesses. The Democrat Party in general, caveat emptor. We need to seriously evaluate each candidate from both parties to see if they are really fit to be leaders in and of this great nation. Some of these candidates are evil personified, and we can show you who they collectively are. Critics, are they necessary evil or revealing necessity? Having the critics praise you is like having the hangman say, "You've got a pretty neck," said Eli Wallach, an actor. However, though, when a fool speaks, a wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool speaks because he has to say something. Those Holiday Inn commercials were a hoot. Each one of the people in these Holiday Inn Express commercials leads you to believe that they can do phenomenal things because they stayed at a Holiday Inn. We now have more than too many actresses, actors, and comedians who actually believe they have the answers to today's problems. Why? Because they stayed at a Holiday Inn? This appears to be the reasoning behind their vacuous diatribes. What else could it be? Actually, they probably didn't stay at the Holiday Inn. Too low scale for most of them. It's the point that I'm using to analogize their poser characteristics. They believe they can do anything and everything because they are so full of themselves and their ego has taken them to false heights of intellectualism. They absolutely believe they are so bright concerning everything. They assume to possess such mental capabilities because the scripts are written for them to be capable intellectuals, and they believe it. I could mention names, but it would only stroke their ego. Any press is good press with these types. They just love to see their name in print and hear the sound of their own voice. This really gives them an ego boost. The quasi-intellectuals that haunt the TV and movie screens have their parts written for them by very gifted people. The success of a television series sometimes is only riding upon the writer's ability. The characters that play the assorted roles only have to learn the lines written for them. Some actually remember the lines, while others have teleprompters or script notes pasted around the set in various spots to remind them of their lines. Either way, they are not the real brains behind those lines. Political arenas seem to be a place where these quasi-intellectuals love to participate. They think they can be the president of the United States of America because they once played that role in a movie. The same can be said of every office in government. These actors absolutely believe they can do everything better than the actual elected officials because they once played that role in a movie. If these posers, what is a poser? Someone who affects an attitude or character usually to deceive or impress. Posed as a doctor to gain access to the ward, for example. These posers were as good as they believe they are in their whimsical minds. Why don't they actually run for elected office? Why stand on the sidelines and give advice when you can actually be in the play for real? Change your script from fantasy to reality so you don't have to stay at a Holiday Inn to be qualified for the real part. Why speak as a fool from the shadows when you can actually take the limelight in the real arena of politics? Just look at all those politicians who stayed at a Holiday Inn. Most of the Democratic Party and even some of the Republican Party act as though they have stayed at a Holiday Inn along the way. The bottom line here is this: all you actors, actresses, and comedians, keep your obtuse mouths shut. Restrain yourselves from vocalizing your worthless opinions. They are inane at best and absolutely worthless from any knowledgeable standpoint. They're making the people mad. Have you noticed your box office dropping lately? Have you wondered why? When a fool speaks. Your profession is to act, sing, or whatever the role you sign up for calls for you to do. Stay out of politics. You are really no good at it. Actors, actresses, the arts, assorted, you live in a fantasy, make-believe world. Reality is not part of your true character makeup, so it's best you dwell there and leave the real world to those of us that can be real and live there.